guys, today I'm here with the Magnaflow Off-Road Pro Series catback exhaust system fitting all 2018 JL Wranglers with the 3.6 liter V6. So whenever you're helping your engine breathe better, whether it be intake or exhaust, you will see a gain in horsepower and torque numbers in the higher RPM range, as well as a couple of different benefits depending on the system. So this catback system by Magnaflow will give you those couple of benefits while also tucking your exhaust system up out of the way for maximum clearance on the trail, as well as giving you a deeper and more aggressive exhaust note to your V6. There are a couple of different options for catback systems on the page right now. There is this option that dumps before the rear axle. There is a very similar option that will dump over the rear axle, and then there are also other options that you may be seeing that have the catback piping that delete the resonator and have a muffler on the back. So with this kind of system that dumps before the rear axle, like I said, you're gaining maximum clearance, and you also are opening up a world of opportunities with your suspension. So a lot of long arm kits can get in the way of your exhaust, but with this system, this clears out a lot of that room, allowing you to open up a bunch of those opportunities like I mentioned. So at the moment, this is going to be roughly $450 on the page and will be one of the more premium priced options for this style catback exhaust system. The other option that is very similar in design to this will be by AFE. It'll be a 1/2 inch larger in diameter, so it's going to be a little bit louder as well as a little bit raspier. So if you're looking for something that's more moderate, but you don't want it too quiet or too loud, this is going to be right in the middle and be just the system for you. Not to mention, Magnaflow is very well known for their quality exhaust systems. Install is going to be a very easy 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. You're only going to need about an hour to 2 hours worth of your time and a couple of hand tools. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for my install today were an impact wrench, a pair of safety glasses, a 10-inch extension, a 5-inch extension, a 13mm ratcheting wrench, a 15mm deep socket, a 13mm socket, a 13mm swivel, a can of PB blaster or any penetrating catalyst, and a exhaust hanger tool. So our first step is to support our muffler so that it will stay in place while we're disconnecting the rest of the system. You can either use a pole jack like I am if your Jeep is up on a lift, or you can use a jack stand if your Jeep is on the ground. We're just gonna make sure that this stays in place. Doesn't have to be super tight, but don't want it to move anywhere while we're disconnecting it. So our next step is to loosen up this clamp that's holding our Y pipe and our catback piping together with our resonator on it. I'm gonna be using a 13mm socket. You can loosen that up and just move that on back. So we will be reusing this clamp on our new system. So what I'm going to do next is loosen the clamp around the muffler piping, just because that's going to make it a little bit easier for us to take the exhaust off as 2 pieces, so we don't have to finagle the rest of the exhaust over the rear track bar and over the axle. So I'll be loosening this up with a 15mm deep socket. So that's going to be welded on there, but you can see that it is moving a little bit. Just want to make sure that you don't take this nut off completely, because then it will disconnect the whole stud that's holding it on. So our next step is to remove the hanger from the exhaust, the rubber exhaust isolator here. I would recommend hitting this with a penetrator. I used a PB blaster just to lubricate this so we can get it out a lot easier, because these can be a pain in the butt to deal with. I'm also using an exhaust hanger tool to help me out. And we're going to start from the back and move, or I guess the front of the vehicle, and move backwards. So make sure that you keep this here. We will be reusing that for our new system. We will not be utilizing the other ones holding in our muffler, but this one is important, so keep that one there. After we remove that hanger, we're ready to take off our catback piping. Going to want to move this over to the side so it clears the Y pipe, and then we can just push it back. If this is giving you a little bit of a trouble to get off, you can just take a rubber mallet. Nothing that's too heavy that's going to hurt the exhaust, but just give it a little tap. You can get a good angle on it. push it out. So what that's gonna do is shock the metal so you can get it out of that clamp. What the fuck, hold on. Can't see anything, my glasses are. So I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of PB Blaster just to try to free it up. So to make your life a whole lot easier when taking off your stock system, if you are purchasing this exhaust, you don't need the back exhaust hangers. You can keep them, that's okay if you want to use them later down the road. But instead of forcing your hanger out of this isolator here, which can be a pain in the butt like I said, I'm just going to take the hanger off completely since we won't even be utilizing these. So there is one 13mm bolt here that I'm going to remove with a 13mm ratcheting wrench. On the other side, we're going to use a swivel socket. So we can do the same thing on the other side. For this one, you can either use the same 13mm ratcheting wrench. However, you do have your tailpipe here, so it is a little bit easier to use a swivel and an extension. So at this point, you can disconnect the muffler from the catback piping. I would recommend grabbing a friend in order to do this. Or if you don't have a friend to help you out with this, you can secure the hanger back on the catback piping. You don't have to put it all the way through, but you can just stabilize it there. But I grabbed somebody to help me out. Okay. So after we have the muffler off, it's gonna be a lot easier to get our catback piping off. We can maneuver this forward, clear the subframe or the skid plate, whatever you want to call it, and we can take that out. So compared to our stock exhaust, you can tell with our new system that we will basically be cutting everything in half and lightening up our load and creating a ton more space in the back compared to this bulky system here. So the stock muffler is big and bulky, and it can make departure angles a little bit sketchy out on the trail if you don't want to damage your exhaust, and especially if you don't want to pinch your tailpipe shut, because I have seen that in the past. With this new system, we are relocating everything in the front of the rear axle, creating a ton of room in the back so you can ding up your bumper instead of your exhaust. So our new system has a diameter of 2.5 inches, which is going to free up a little bit of restriction compared to this, but you're really getting your performance out of your muffler. This is gonna be a high flow, straight through style muffler compared to your exhaust. Your stock exhaust, which has a resonator here and which has the big and bulky baffled muffler on the back. It's also made to last a very long time. It's made of stainless steel with a satin finish, so this is gonna have a very long lifespan. So I'm gonna quit talking and bolt this up so we can hear our new exhaust. So now we can take our longer piping with the flared end and attach it to our Y pipe. While we're attaching it, we're just going to pull that clamp over, tighten that down. We just want it tight enough to stay in place for now. So before we bolt up the rest of the exhaust, I did want to piece these two together just to make it a little bit easier. So you are gonna take one of your clamps, put that on here, slide it over the one part of the muffler, and we are going to loosely tighten this just so it's enough to stay on, but we do want to be able to adjust this at the end. So now we can attach this here, wiggle that on our pipe, and to make it a little bit easier for us, I'm going to try to attach this to our hanger just to give us a little bit of support. So after our hanger is set in place, we can go ahead and tighten both of our clamps down. So you'll be using a 15mm deep socket for the new clamps, and then for our stock clamp, you'll go ahead and use the 13mm socket that we used before. So that's going to wrap it up for my review and install on the Magnaflow Off-Road Pro Series catback system, fitting all 2018 JL Wranglers with the 3.6-liter V6 engine. For more videos like this, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.